That was a long night, but we made it. I finished all of these bases. They're all dry brushed and ready to go, as well as some other ones that are still on the table here, including our beautiful old school wizard. Now for the tournament, of course, I don't want to rock up with models that are just white with some green bases. So we need to get these painted. And I did buy some new paints. So let's try that out. I think I want to paint a test model and this guy will be perfect for that. So let's get this guy finished. And that'll help us to figure out which steps of the process need some work, where we might be able to improve during batch painting. We'll get a feel for how it all looks, if the paint scheme is cohesive, and how the paints behave. Really excited to get one mini done. You should paint up pretty fast because there's not that many materials on these guys. So let's go ahead and paint up our test model. Okay, I'm actually pretty excited that we're finally starting to paint these guys. And the test model is really important. When you're painting a whole army, you want to make sure that your color scheme is working. And this guy, I think, is a perfect choice because he's got some different clothing and he's got a little kettle on his head. And so I can really try out all the different materials and see how the colors are working together. As you can see, I started off with the royal purple by Vallejo that we bought as a base coat for his purple jacket. And then I thought some yellow trousers might be nice. And this will also let me test the coverage of the yellow over the green that oversprayed from when we sprayed the bases. Well, it's a really, really nice and saturated yellow. This is AK's 3rd gen yellow, but the coverage is, like all yellows, pretty poor. For the browns, I chose to go with Citadel's XV88. Since it has some nice warmth to it, I think it'll work really well with the yellow. Now on to highlighting the purple. This is a mix, roughly 50-50, of our original royal purple with Citadel's cacophony purple. And I think this is a really, really nice highlight color that stays in that purple and doesn't move too far into magenta territory, and really highlights the purple bits without desaturating them too much. Since the royal purple is really, really dark, my first highlight is pretty broad. And so the second one, which is just pure cacophony purple, can be more like a traditional edge highlight, kind of picking out some raised areas and some folds in the clothing and trying to make those stand out. It looks super stark here, but our last highlight will be much more desaturated and bring it all together. And I think this adds some vibrancy and oomph to the whole paint scheme. So here you go, here's that last highlight. This is Vallejo again with light violet. And here I'm just doing a dot highlight. So I'm picking areas where the previous highlights kind of intersect. And the very, very tips of all the raised areas, they all get like a little dot of this light violet. Now, as I mentioned before, the yellow is a perfect color, but the paint does lack some opacity, so you'll have to build up some layers of this. And I knew this going in, that's why I chose a yellow that I really, really liked. You can try to make this easier by airbrushing it or using yellow contrast paints instead of traditional acrylics. But I chose to go this route, and so far it's been okay on this model since we started with a white base coat. The shade you've seen me put on here is Army Painter Strong Tone, and I put this over all the brown areas to begin with, which I then highlight using Zandri Dust, which is also a Citadel paint. And now this is a really traditional edge highlight. Remember, we're trying to go for a real old school look here, so we want to paint just like the heavy metal team would have done in the 90s. And so doing these stark edge highlights and these really vibrant color blocking sort of steps allow us to get that vintage look in the end, and hopefully make the whole army look very cohesive and also stand out on the table, since it's got so much contrast going on everywhere. And you just got to be careful not to overdo it and not to desaturate all of your highlights too much so the colors still read like vibrant materials. And this last highlight here is a highlight of Ushapti Bone, which is just a very, very fine edge highlight on all the brown parts. And these will look more unified after I do a matte varnish right at the very end. For the pants, I bought a pale yellow by Pro Acryl. And this is maybe the only step in the whole process where I might adjust something for the next model I paint, because it is very stark. You can't really tell in the video, but they are quite intense. So I might do another step in between where I mix this pale yellow with the original yellow 50-50, so it doesn't become quite so garish in the end. Now I decided to paint some stripes on his pants, and with these stripes you can really have some fun showing off the texture of the pants. You can see here I'm moving my brush in some zigzag lines to emphasize all of the little folds that are happening, and that can really tell a story in the end with your model. And really bring some unique character. It is quite an advanced technique, but once you've got the brush control, you can really go crazy. Now the kettle I just painted with lead belcher and then did the final highlight of Stormhost Silver. Okay, so our first test model is done. I'm absolutely in love with him. I think he looks so good. Such a cute little guy. Little birdman with a kettle on his head. I think it's always important to do a little test model like this. It'll let you kind of get some confidence that your color scheme is going to work. Can't get rid of this cowlick. Really happy with this. It didn't take long at all. It really was pretty quick. This behind me here is the key light that I use for most of my filming. So the light that is shining on my face, but also on my minis when I'm working at the table. Right now, I'm using this one that you often see in the background as a key light because I'm trying to show you this one, so I can't use it. This is an Elgato key light, and I bought it back when I thought I was gonna stream video games. I know. I like the light. I really like the light. It's an LED panel, and it's got a great diffuser built in, and what I really like about it is how thin it is. This is really easy to fit into my small workshop area in my office here. What I really hate about it is that you can only control this thing through an app, and that app cannot connect via Bluetooth, but only via like a strange Wi-Fi connection, where basically you connect the accessory to like a temporary Wi-Fi and then to your Wi-Fi, and so it creates its own Wi-Fi. It doesn't really matter. The point is it keeps breaking. I cannot connect to this thing. Once a month it'll just stop working and my phone cannot connect to it, and then it's stuck on factory settings, which is really bright. So that's pretty useless. It means I have to like lower the brightness on my camera. I get less control basically. So I bit the bullet and I bought a new light from a different company that has an actual physical remote. I don't think it's gonna make a difference for you guys at all. It's basically the same light, but with a better control for me. But I just thought I'd share that, since if some of you wanna do something like this, buy a light with physical controls. This is garbage. So there you go, brand new light installed, and I have this little remote here. So with the click of a button, I can turn it on and off. I can adjust the color temperature, and of course the brightness as well. Pretty happy with that. And now I don't have to move this light around. If I film from there, which I usually do, I can just press this and I've got my light. Let me know in the comments if you were a Goblin Green doubter, or maybe you didn't like the idea of having such a colorful paint scheme. Let me know if you've been converted. Are you convinced yet that this is going to look great as a whole army? Or do you still think I'm committing sacrilege and that turnip should be brown and muddy? I would love to know your thoughts. And if you enjoyed this video, you know the drill. Like, subscribe. You can hype the video as well. The number one thing you can do to show your support is send me a message, leave a comment, and just get involved. There's a lovely community forming. I love seeing some of you regulars down there in the comments. I've had some lovely DMs with some people who have contacted me from this YouTube channel. So don't be afraid, reach out and be part of this. That's why I'm doing it. I'd love to see your turnip armies. Now, excuse me, I've got an arts and crafts night with some friends tonight, and then I'm going to start on the first batch of 12, well 11 now, of these guys. I think I'm gonna do 3 batches of 12. And then we're all done with the whole army. It's gonna be over in no time.